What's going on, fishy friends? We are on the final leg of our 3 fishing report journey. We started up in the upper Chesapeake, which is actually where Captain Jamie Thrappas is from. And we went down to South Carolina, and we're going to end the night in Central Florida, East Coast. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and bring in Captain Jamie Thrappas. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, buddy. Fished out, man.
Fished out. That's not possible.
It's been busy. Spring break's been good to us this year.
Do you ever, speaking of fished out, do you ever think like, man, I'm kind of sick of fishing?
Yeah, you would think, but then our days off, we go fishing.
Has anyone ever called you Yellow Dog, or was it just called Yellow Dog because of your dog?
I think some people think my name is Yellow Dog, but it all started because of the dog.
Because of the dog. What was the dog's name?
Bay, B-A-Y, after the Chesapeake Bay.
That's what's going on, dude. The bay is freaking beautiful right now. It's like 75 degrees, light breeze. Spring is in the air. Oh God! I mean, I was out there today and a few times this week, and I mean, you've been on the bay in the spring. Like we've been through. Usually, you've been through the cold, and by the time that weather warms up, you're like, oh, thank God. Not so much. You guys have been in the heat for a while.
It's funny how it works here. Like we'll get winter. People don't think that we have a winter, but we get winter, and then we'll get like all of a sudden like this fake summer, and it'll go like from 20, 30 at night to like 80 during the day for like 4 or 5 days. You're like, oh wow, we're not gonna have a spring. We're done with winter, and then bam, cold again. And now we're in spring, so we're getting a lot of fronts, and it's raining a lot. And today was probably the first thunderstorm that we've gotten since last fall. So, yeah, spring is definitely upon us here.
Well, let's jump right into the 2-minute bite. For those of you guys that haven't seen this segment before, it's really a fishing report for those with ADD. You don't have the attention span for all 30 minutes. You get it all in 2 minutes. What's the fish that you're targeting the most right now? What are you using, and what's the technique?
All right. So in the spring, we get like this cool migration of cobia. They're actually on their way up to you guys. They come by with the manta rays. You'll find free swimmers every once in a while, but typically you're looking for these big, huge manta rays. 3, 4, 500. Sometimes I'm guessing pushing 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
And not every ray will have fish on it, but most rays will. They get thrown at really hard from the guys from south of us down Sebastian Inlet, all the way north to Jacksonville. We kind of fish for them like this, and you go out, you identify the ray, you get up on them. You can most of the time visually see if he has cobia on him or not. If he does, you'll throw at it. The fish will come out. You can quickly identify if they're keepers or not if you want to stick with that ray, and then if he has keepers, you keep casting, get them to come out and hook them boys. But if not, you move on, find the next ray. So
how does that look? I mean, are the cobia literally sitting right underneath its wings?
It's weird. Sometimes they're underneath and sometimes they're on top. And I mean, if the ray doesn't dive down, you can get right up next to him and like kind of cruise and look in the water. And it doesn't look like he has a fish. Doesn't look like he has a fish. And all of a sudden, the fish will drop back a little bit. And I'm like, oh, there's a big one under there. But it's like it's a hard way to fish for them. It's got to be a super accurate cast out ahead of them. And if the fish are on top, you got to reel fast so you don't hook the ray and get them over the top, the bait over the top of the back of the ray. And if he's underneath, you got to angle it just right so your line will go right underneath of him, and it reel real fast to get your bait to go right underneath of them. And those fish will see it and they'll come out. But they get hit so hard that it's like they kind of get smart about it after a while. And they recently raised our size limit on them from I might butcher it, but I think it was 32 inches to the fork. Now it's 36 to the fork, and then you can only keep two fish per vessel. One fish per person, or two per vessel, whatever's greater. So 2 fish. A lot of these fish that we catch now, we used to gaff them, right? Because you're like, oh, that's a keeper. Now we net them just in case. And we had a couple of them like that in the past few weeks where they were like 35, 35 and a half, but you got to let them go.
Gotta love that about Florida, man. When the state of Florida sees an issue with the fishery, you guys just change it.
Yeah, they do.
They don't wait around. Like, they don't wait 5 years for studies and all this crap. They're just like, nope, can't keep those anymore.
Well, they'll change it in the middle of the season. Like, it's crazy. But
no, it's awesome. That's how it should be.
Yeah, no, it is. That is how it should be. But like, you got to keep up with it. Like, if the Florida Wildlife Commission sends you an email, you have to read it because something's changing or something's about to change.
Yeah.
But for the way we fish for those cobia, man, we use bucktails with like an eel, like a gulp eel or something on it, or just a rubber eel. I personally like to tip my baits with a piece of squid. So if the fish are kind of skittish, or like they'll come out and they'll nose that bait. If it doesn't have something on there that scent it, they'll turn off of it. But if you have a piece of squid on there, they'll usually eat it. And then this year, I've been using a lot more of the larger soft plastics. Like, this is about an 8-inch paddle tail.
Oh, those are the no live bait needed.
They are, yeah, they're great, man. I use them.
So nice. It takes the cheap out of soft plastic, though.
It does. But I tell you what, like the guys that use them, it's like a cult following, man. Like, that's all they use. Like, they won't use any other soft plastic. But either way, soft plastics or bucktails, dude, are the main two that we use. There's another one called Hoggy. They make a real long, like a jerk bait almost. They work pretty well. So then, other than that, the bite is now that it's warming up, sheep's head spawn's kind of over with. We're kind of done messing with them. We're fishing for snook now. We're fishing for redfish again. We have a pretty good redfish bite in the spring.
Yeah, you got a couple of pictures you sent me. Let me pull those up real quick.
Yep, that was a good one from the other day.
Now, that's over slot, or is that slot where you are?
That one was 33 inches, and they got to be 18 to 27 to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then obviously
another over slot.
Yeah. We take our time. I have a rule of thumb: really, like a minute or less, that fish is out of the water. From the time I net it, unhook it, put it in your hands. Once we get the fish on, I tell my customers, get your camera ready, or whoever else is with them, because when we get this fish out, we're going to hurry up, snap a couple pictures, make it famous, and get it back in the water, because that fish will be a breeder for us in the fall. So we got to be pretty delicate with them and respectful. So anyway, we redfish and snook. Snook bite will get a little bit hotter as time goes on, as the water gets warmer. I haven't really personally messed with them too much yet, but guys are catching the heck out of them. The mullet run, our spring mullet run's about starting. So where my bait shop is, there's a bridge right in front of us, and the mullet are pushing through a little bit, and these snook are just like going airborne. Like, I'll be I'll be talking to somebody out in the parking lot, and I'll see like a 30-inch snook, fly out of the water behind them, and I'll lose my concentration. I'm like, I gotta go get a rod. I'll be right back.
I can't call a snook my favorite fish to catch because it's so far away. Like, that would just be mean to myself. But
yeah, no,
I've been down there to Jupiter and closer towards your area, dude. That is such a fun fish to catch.
I mean, they're great. They're hard to catch. They're smart. They're hard to get on the bite, and even once you get on the bite, it's like they know what to do to break you off. They head right for structure, wrap you right around the pole, snap you off. It can be frustrating, but once you catch your first one, you're hooked. There's no doubt about it.
I caught my first one on top water, no less. I mean, so fun. Yeah. And then I caught a whole bunch of them off dock lights with live shrimp.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite way to fish for them is at night, is the dock lights. It's just like, I don't know, it's like a monster hiding in the shadows or something like that. Like,
because you can't throw into the light. They don't want it in the light.
The trout will hit the light, and the little juvenile snook will hit it in the light. But those big slot snook and over slot, everybody drifts it through the light. You get to the shadow, they reel it in and do it again. Well, if you keep freelining it another 4 or 5, 6 feet, that's where them big ones are hanging out.
Yeah, and if a big one hits it, there's always that first couple of seconds where you're like, snook or tarpon.
Yeah.
Because the tarpon also, like, they'll hit it, but they don't want it in the light,
No, but the light attracts the bait, so if there's bait, there's predators.
Yeah, so fun.
But no, daytime snook fishing is good too. I prefer an outgoing tide. You can stage up, kind of mark fish on your fish finder at like a pass or an inlet, or even like structure like a bridge, and then drop your bait back to them. Or a lot of times in the inlet on the outgoing tide, we'll drift fish them, kind of hit the bottom, couple reels up off the bottom, about 3-4 foot leader with a live bait, and just kind of drift through those schools of snook. Because when you're drifting through them, those fish are facing into the current, waiting for the bait that gets sucked through. So you drift through them. The problem with drift fishing is in the past it's up and down, so or the inlet you're gonna snag bottom every once in a while. So it can be a little frustrating if you snag a couple different drifts in a row, but it produces fish for sure.
Oh, I mentioned tarpon briefly. Where you are, the tarpon are probably not quite there yet, or
They're always here.
you guys have
Really,
resident ones, right?
yeah, but like for me, when I'm targeting tarpon, it's in the summertime and late summer.
Yeah.
It's when we get our fall mullet run. If you're gonna target them kind of along the beaches or in the inlet. But well, in the summertime, the shrimp boats in Daytona are like right off the beach, maybe like a mile or less, sometimes a little farther. But and what happens is they're dragging their nets, they pull it in, they got all these shrimp, but then they got bycatch, croakers. Spot, all kinds of different fish, and they throw it overboard. And when that happens, there's like a feeding frenzy. It's tarpon, bonita, tons of different types of sharks. But when them big tarpon get there behind those boats, and they're 150 pounders plus, it's kind of like playing the lottery. You never know which one's going to eat it. Could be a shark, could be a bonita, but when you get a tarpon on, it, and then it's game on. And
Oh,
that's my favorite. That's my favorite because you're
yeah.
out in the water.
I remember. I think when you kind of started doing this fishing report, not long after that, the big topic was following the shrimp boats.
Yeah, it's yeah, man. It's super exciting. It's cool for the customers too because you're right up behind the shrimp boats. You're watching these guys work. They're talking to you half the time,
Yeah.
um, and then they're most of them are super friendly. They haven't really talked to anybody else besides the other three guys on the boat for a week or so. So they'll give you bycatch. Sometimes we trade them beer, like a 12 pack of beer, and they'll give us a 5 gallon bucket full of fresh shrimp. You can't beat that. So, but
And you said
anyway.
they had croaker. I mean, that's also a pretty good eating fish. Did they ever give you a bucket of croaker?
So it's so funny. Up north, you guys eat croaker. People eat bluefish. Down here, we frown upon bluefish as far as a species that we target or eat. And
Yeah,
then the croaker, we use them for bait.
I know you guys do. Yeah, it's so funny based on region what people want to eat and what they don't, and
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
I mean, I get people from Maryland, New York, New Jersey, and they're like, "Can we go catch bluefish?" I'm like, "Sure, if that's what you want to catch." But
Yeah.
there's so many other species we could target.
Bluefish does make a great smoked fish dip. I'll always say that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It really does. It really
Yep.
does. Uh, my internal clock is also telling me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when you're finding cobia next to these rays, are you ever seeing triple tail near them right now?
You won't see a triple tail on the ray or anything per se, but when we're running to and from, we pass a bunch of different buoys, from reef marking buoys that mark some of our artificial reefs, or if you
Mm-hmm.
just happen to see something floating, it's a good idea to stop. And then same thing, I'll see like free floaters a lot of times. You'll run right by it, you think it's a piece of trash, but it's a 20-some inch triple tail just laying on the side sunning himself.
They're the weirdest looking fish I've ever seen.
Yeah, but the best tasting fish, bro. Like by far, they're
Yeah.
so good. My wife's in the other room. She just said, "Yeah."
Yeah, news for the second the mini Jamie coming along. Uh, so that's amazing for you guys.
Yeah, pretty excited, man. Pretty excited. We're in the middle of making his nursery right now. We're making it pirate themed. I'm gonna put a plank off the crib, so his first steps, he's gonna be walking off the plank.
Right, you're already a fantastic dad. I mean, really, half the fun of having kids is having somebody to play practical jokes on. I mean,
No doubt about it.
uh, so Sean says triple tail like to sunbathe, and he says sometimes you can just stick your net and scoop them up if you go slow. Really?
I've tried that a few times, and I have never had luck. In the morning at my marina, when I'm walking down to my boat, like there's always some snook or some tarpon hanging out underneath. And once in a blue moon, there'll be like a juvenile triple tail. And I have tried to net those things with my big net. As soon as I even get close to the water, they take off.
Gone. Yeah. Well, we don't have any questions. I think folks are, with the time change, people are probably still out there fishing. But any other fish to discuss?
Well, I mean, we've been catching some sea trout, like some decent ones.
What's a decent sea trout where you are?
28 inches, 30 inches.
Okay, that's big. Yeah.
Like maybe 14, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
I wish I should have sent you a picture of one that a gentleman at my shop had caught. I caught some flack on it on social media for posting it. Because when they get big like that, they're breeders. They lay the eggs. And this guy is
a win with Facebook DNR, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? But he's an older gentleman. He's a retired vet. Like he fishes to feed him and his wife. They're on a fixed income, so he did keep it. You're allowed to keep one over 19 inches. So, but yeah, I got a bunch of flack for posting a picture of him keeping that fish. But I mean, it was a trophy fruit. Like I've caught one close to that big, but I've never caught one that big.
Well, I'm not going to get on my pedestal or anything, but I will say there's way too much on social media and just period infighting amongst anglers that are just following the laws.
Yeah.
Right. If you got a problem with it, go to your wildlife commission or go to your DNR. Like, don't attack the angler that's posting a picture of a fish that he's proud of, or someone like you that's posting the picture for him. If you got a problem with it, go to Florida Wildlife Commission.
Yeah. I mean, look, we don't, as a charter captain, I promote hook and cook, right? So we take you fishing. I'll leave from a restaurant. They'll cook your catch afterwards. We keep enough for that meal. We don't. People call, want to know where they can get dry ice and send stuff back to wherever they're from. That's just not what we do. And a lot of times we promote as much as we can, just catch and release. Yeah. Even with cobia, a lot of the guys, they'll take you out for them and maybe keep one fish, even though you can keep two. And sometimes they just let them all go.
It's hard not to eat those cobia.
They're great eating, they are, but like that's why. I mean, with social media and everything else, man, it's a double-edged sword. We advertise our business that way, but then the recreational people know, hey, the cobia are here, so they're out there like white on rice, and they get hit hard, man. So I haven't kept the cobia this year, so
good for you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just side note, I don't know if you can see it. I'll move my head. Can you see that picture in the background there?
It looks like an old school photo.
It's Tillman Island. It's Tillman Island Day. All the work boats lined up for the work boat races, and actually my family's on the boat. So I got Maryland and Tillman stuff all over the house, man.
Very nice, man. We were at Tillman Island today. Nice. Beautiful, man.
We'll be up there for Tillman Island Day mid-October if you guys are around.
Dude, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll be there for sure.
Oh, mid-October, the fishing is sick here.
I mean, I don't know if you care if I give my brother a shout out, but
please definitely.
He runs a charter business out of Middle River called Fin and Feather. He does
Derek is his name, right?
Derek Thrappas, Fin and Feather. You can find him on Facebook or Instagram. Again, it's Fin and Feather Chesapeake, and
how do you say it? What is it called?
Fin and Feather Chesapeake.
Venom like the poison.
Fin and then feather, like a bird.
Oh, fin and feather.
Yep.
And what else? Fin and feather what?
I believe it's Fin and Feather Chesapeake.
Is it like Chesapeake Guide Service?
I don't know. I know it's Fin and Feather Chesapeake. I'm on my phone doing the show, or I'd look it up for you real quick.
It's all good.
There, he's watching. Or maybe not. Maybe you posted
No, I just typed that in so people would get it.
Yeah. So anyway, he'll be running trips for the spring striped bass rockfish, and then again in the fall, and then he does duck hunting down out of Cape Charles, Virginia, and Chickateague. So anyway, look him up. I think he'll be keeping his boat down in Kent Island.
There it is.
There you go. Fin Feather Chesapeake.
Yeah. Yeah. Reach out to Derek. He and I have been talking back and forth. Really nice guy, really helpful guy. So definitely, and you don't have to ask next time to promote him or any of your other people. We don't have an agenda on this show. We have sponsors, but part of it is giving you a platform to promote your business. Speaking of which, we do have a question. It's not a traditional question, but since it's a little bit of a slow night, we're going to consider it a question for question of the night. He says, I got on late. Where are we talking about? Can you tell us real quick about your region?
Yeah, like Central Florida. I fish out of Ponce Inlet, Florida, mostly. South New Smyrna, all the way up to Ormond Beach. So the cobia and whatnot, we're talking about out in the ocean, just off of the beach. Yeah.
Cool. What else do we have? So we talked about triple tail. We talked mangrove snapper. They're kind of always there for you, aren't they?
Yeah, year round. You can target them pretty much. In the summer, I tend to catch the bigger ones, but I mean, most of the mangrove snapper we're catching are bycatch while we're fishing for something else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a bad bycatch to have. They're excellent to eat. Well, we can target them easily. Like, again, any type of structure, docks, typically like a little bit deeper of a dock, they'll be down there, and they're plentiful. They got to be 10 inches, well, even inshore or offshore to keep. The bigger ones we catch offshore for sure, but a 16, 17, 18-inch fish isn't uncommon.
Yeah. Sean says the mangrove snapper are the bluegill of Florida saltwater.
I always consider them like the white perch down here. Like they're the white perch of the except for
I guess the white perch are the bluegill of Chesapeake saltwater. We mangrove snapper are delicious. Real quick before we sign off, tell us about Yellow Dog Fishing. Tell us about your tackle shop, how people can find the tackle shop, how people can find you.
Sure. So, our website for everything is Yellow Dog, DAWG, yellowdogfishing.com. We have a page on there for the charter business, a page on there for the tackle shop. We have a page on there for, we also have like kayaks and paddleboard rentals and kayak charters and stuff like that we offer. And then if you just Google it, we'll pop up on maps with our location. I'll give you my cell phone number. It's 386-366-3424. You can call to schedule a trip. We're pretty, not completely solidly booked throughout the year or throughout the end of the season, which would be the end of October. But we're pretty booked at least 3 or 4 days a week. So if you want to go, give us a shout. We actually have 3 boats. We have sorry, my low power mode went on. We have a flats boat for backcountry. We have a bay boat for the river, like the Halifax River, Ponce Inlet, and up and down the beach. We have a 30-foot center console for going offshore. And we're getting ready to add a little bit bigger center console here in about a week or so, 33-foot Sea Hunter. So that'll give us a little bit more range. We can go out to the other side of the Gulf Stream, go after yellowfin tuna. We can go deep drop for swordfish or tilefish. Even from time to time, go after some bigger stuff like some marlin. So.
Yeah, Sean, shoot! You got time for one question, and then we'll log off. I feel like we need a Jeopardy. Here we go. Quick typist. He says, Sean says, if you had to choose between sight fishing or blind casting, which would you choose and why?
100% sight fishing. I love fishing in the backcountry, spotting a school of redfish or a solo redfish, and kind of trying to outsmart him which way he's going and get that bait in front of him. I consider it like hunting on the water, like spot and stalk. It's probably my favorite type of fishing. Offshore, near shore, inshore, for sure. Sight fishing.
Do any of your boats have a tower on them so the captain can kind of get up there and look?
I don't, but my next boat will. There's no doubt about it.
That always looks so fun. I mean, it's kind of my dream. I don't need to be the charter captain, but to be the captain of a boat up on a tower saying, it's right over there. Like to see a big cobia come up or a school of reds or something like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how much just being up a few feet really gives you that much more of an advantage. I think it's funny watching these guys cobia fish in these skiffs. I mean, there's John boats out there, but they'll have like a ladder, like ratchet strapped down to the boat, and they're up on top of it. I'm like, whatever works, man.
Redneck cobia fishing right there.
That works. It works.
Hey, if it works, it works. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Sean, you asked the only 2 questions tonight, so these bad boys are yours. I'm getting old. You gotta remind me of stuff. Sean, I think you've already sent me your address, but if not, please send it to admin. Send me your address to admin at thefishingchannel.net. And I've got Tuesday's prizes, which I believe you won one of. I'm not. Yeah, I'm looking right at them. Sean, yeah, you won some Tuesday prizes, so I'm going to mail both Tuesday. Yeah, I sent it yesterday, but I'll send it again. Sean, I got it. Don't worry about it. I just forgot about it. But Sean, I'll send you your Tuesday prizes and your Thursday prizes tomorrow. So expect to get those either, probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. Jamie, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much. You want to close us out with any wise words of the hardest working captain in Florida?
Oh man, weather's good. Don't procrastinate. Get those rods, oil them up. Put some fresh line on them, and go fishing.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Jamie, we'll see you next month, and thanks so much for watching.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
You too.